I'm in the middle. Okay, so right before we start the stream today, well, if you didn't really catch it, yesterday official hardcore realms were announced and they're coming out sometime this summer. We don't exactly know when, but based on this, there's a lot of comments on Reddit about this that I want to take a look at today before we start the stream. So I'm just going to be like showing you guys the comments as well, looking through the comments and taking a look at what's happening on the hardcore scene, talking a little bit more about the servers themselves, the announcement, and seeing what people think about it really, because let's be real, people have a lot of comments when it comes to what the official hardcore servers should be like, and rightfully so. People are worried that it's going to be a mess due to griefing. Some people want to have less rules, some people are happy, some people are not. Either way, let's check it out, boys. Let's just get right into it. Let's cut over to right here and we can bring this up onto the screen. So here we go, official hardcore realms coming this summer, officially announced at the conclusion of HCAS Season 1, that is the hardcore All-Stars tournament event by the way. It was broadcasted there where Addon from the Blizzard team, or the Classic WoW team, came on and announced both Season of Mastery 2, well, it's going to be a brand new season. He talked about that at the end and also announced official hardcore servers coming to Classic Era. So these are going to be like new server types coming to Classic Era. He said Classic Era in the announcement. So it's basically going to be a brand new server type. And because it's a brand new server type, you can probably not transfer there, so you have to start over. It's a fresh Classic WoW experience with only one life. And they also said on that stream and in the announcement that they didn't really want to impose too many rules on these servers, because the current challenge we're doing is a community-driven challenge. We're basically imposing rules on ourselves to make it more challenging, which we can still do on those servers. And we can also have many more challenging coming with the same premise of just having one life. So far it's looking like it's only going to be one life, and one more new feature, like for example right here, a very good recap. Once you die, your character is not deleted instantly to pass guild leadership, message other people, but you cannot come back to life. Basically, death equals a ghost, but you can stay as a ghost. There's also going to be a brand new feature called Duel to the Death, and basically a Makgora. You can duel someone to the death. Exactly how that's going to work? Well, it's going to be a duel to the death, but is there going to be any achievements, titles, a stackable buff? Like imagine if you win something, if you win a duel, you get a buff, so it shows you that you won one duel, just to have like bragging rights. That could be kind of cool. So with that said, let's see what people have to say about this. They need to make server-wide announcement to Duels of the Death, in my opinion. I agree. But maybe not server-wide announcement, because imagine all the level 1s that are going to duel, but if you have a buff or some way to show people how many you have done, like how many you won, that could be cool. But server-wide announcements could be a little bit much, especially they could have server-wide announcement, but have an option to turn it off. Or like set a minimum level requirement, because it can be really annoying after a while. /Makgora, it's super cool though, it's a very good concept. I can't really see too many level 60s doing this, but I can see something happening, like the Hardcore All-Stars tournament, where we have weekends where you're leveling to level 10, you have a hour cap, like you can level for 2 or 4 hours, and get some gear at level 10, and then there's a massive like fight to the death at the end where the winner takes the whole prize pool. So it's going to be like PvP tournaments driven by the community, maybe even driven by Blizzard, but definitely player and community driven communities and like tournaments based on this one thing. I'm totally okay with no Iron Man rules if everyone still only has one death, or yeah, one life. For as much as I would hate to see dungeon boosting, it's still not a 100% safe method for the boosters or the boosted. I mean, yeah, like in boosting in hardcore, it will be more risky, more reward as well, but I'm also kind of guessing they're going to be implementing some changes when it comes to boosting, like they had in Season of Mastery. give us the Season of Mastery changes on hardcore servers. I think that could be a thing they're doing, but again, PTR is starting very soon. Exactly what we want is announced, and this subreddit cries like a bunch of babies. Perfectly fine playing HC with the community mod for years, Blizzard adds official support, and now everyone whines. I mean, I don't know, I think like people are being very open to this. The only rule being death equals delete is the best iteration of the mode, has so many upvotes. I'm so happy that people are seeing that aspect, because I feel like there's some people who want to have the rules that we currently have, but it's the very vocal minority. And they're very vocal about it, but it's the vocal minority. Lots of people here seem to have no idea what hardcore means as a baseline in 99 point blah 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 of games. For decades now, baseline hardcore has meant that if you die, you cannot play the character again in its original state, and that's it. This add-on has warped the meaning of hardcore for a lot of people to a SSF, for solo self-found basically. Limited training and grouping has always been an extra option for the complete vast majority of games with hardcore, since hardcore has been a thing. Exactly, what we're doing right now is not really hardcore, it's solo self-found, which is a whole different challenge. It's just we're calling it hardcore, which is warping people's thinking of what hardcore actually is. If you just go to any other games where hardcore is a thing, it always like it's based on being social, and WoW is a social game, and even like when they announced hardcore now, they said they wanted to focus on the social aspect, so the rules aren't going to be there. They even said that the only rule they want to impose is death equals ghost. Am I the only one thinking permanent death is the only necessary rule for hardcore? Once again, so many upvotes. It's so cool to see that people are understanding that concept. Things he said in the announcement: no appeals, one life, and that's it. You can still run around as a ghost after you're dead. Servers coming late this summer, likely no Iron Man rules. Probably not going to be any rules for Iron Man, but we can still use the add-on, right? Duel to the death feature coming to kill other players, some to announce too, that's coming later this year. Yeah. Personally, I'm a bit disappointed at the lack of auction house/mail, but it's better than nothing. It's a lot better than nothing, and I feel like if they implemented too many restrictions, it would really narrow down who would play on those servers. By making it as open as possible, more people will be willing to give it a chance. And sure, it will make the challenge itself easier, but it will make the game more social. It will be less about the achievement of getting to level 60 and more about having fun. I feel like classic WoW is always should be about having fun, and people have fun in different ways. Later this summer, you think they would hop on this before the hype is completely dead? I think for the seasonal server, the hype is going to keep ramping up for seasonal servers. The only thing that could die down a little bit is like fresh classic WoW, but even that, like when they announce it, it's going to be really popping. The only thing they need to do now is hardcore, which they're doing. They're playing it perfectly. If they had came out with fresh classic WoW and Season of Mastery at the same time as hardcore, effectively what they would be doing is splitting their player base, right? By announcing one thing at a time, the people that maybe wouldn't even give hardcore a try will now give hardcore a try, and maybe they will have fun playing it, who knows, right? They also announced some too, which is better news. Better news for a lot of people? I mean, yeah, but it's later this year. It is later this year. And here's the thing, he didn't even say that some 2 is launching later this year. He said they will have more info later this year. But personally, I'm guessing Season 2 will be launching in November, because the first season launched in November, I think. So a November launch seems plausible, but also he said they are talking more about it later this year, so we have no idea. Season 2 could be coming out early next year too, but I'm guessing November for the next season. This is exactly what I have wanted. I always felt put off from the add-on restricting players from grouping and interacting together. I understand its purpose is to cut out getting outside hardcore influence, but if everyone on the server is hardcore, then yeah, that feels like a more lively world. Exactly, I feel like one of the major reasons why we currently have the solo self-found, and even like if you go back and ask the people who made the add-on and made the challenge, even they say, like, many of the rules we currently have were put in place because we're playing on a classic era server where people have literal Naxxramas gear. It's a completed game. We're playing on the last phase of classic WoW, and it's to restrict people that are doing hardcore to get like help from people that are level 60, maxed out Naxxramas gear. It's more like we're playing it fresh. We're playing it fresh, no help from other people who have completed the game. No gold handouts, no like twink item handouts, no molten core boosting from people that do a billion DPS, right? It's more like we're playing it fresh, without any help from those people. But now on an actual hardcore server, first of all, it will be a fresh hardcore server, right? So everyone will be starting at the same line, and everyone will be hardcore. So, you know, if you get help from someone, that person is also hardcore. If you trade with someone, he's also hardcore. There's no, like, unfairness. Everyone is hardcore. Fresh one. I kind of wish they had actually came out with a fresh classic WoW at some point, instead of just talking about the next season and the hardcore. I feel like there is a very like big audience right now for a fresh classic WoW, without any changes whatsoever, just like an actual fresh launch for classic WoW. So I'm kind of a little bit disappointed they didn't talk about fresh at all. All they talked about is like the hardcore servers and the season 2. But I mean, at the same time, how many things do you need at once? Like, how many announcements do you want at the same time, right? I'm kind of happy we got both, and to be honest, all I was asking for are the hardcore servers, so I'm happy either way, man. I'm happy either way. And I guess that's pretty much about it for the Reddit and React, to just checking what people had to say. But like, basing this on the comments and the upvotes, people are more interested than I thought when it came to like the rules. So like, people are enjoying the fact that there's less restrictions because it makes the servers more open, right? It just seems much better overall for the game, and focusing less on the challenge of getting to level 60 and focusing more on the social element, because at the end of the day, Classic WoW is a very social game. All the infrastructures of Classic WoW is built on being social. If you have enchanting, you need blacksmithing rods to make your enchanting rods, right? So there's a lot of interactions between professions, trading, grouping, all of those things. You have quests in the open world that pretty much requires you to be in a group, and they are very difficult to solo. But I guess that's pretty much what I wanted to check out today, just how people are reacting to the announcement, so we can get some actual confirmation of what people think. So let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Would you have liked to see official hardcore servers with the current solo self-found rules, or are you happy with what we got announced? Let me know in the comments down below, and as always, big thumbs, big thumbs.